Alright, let's get started. I thought what happened was I started the stream and I thought that YouTube was gonna have not kick in until the countdown was done, but it started anyway. So hopefully you're hearing me right now. Welcome, this is my first ever game trailer critique stream. I'm gonna see how, I'll probably do this like half an hour, no more than an hour, definitely. But basically I just have a big playlist here of a whole bunch of game trailers that I've put on my watch later list ages and ages ago, and I just never watched. So I thought it'd be fun to just watch them with an audience and just talk about my ideas, what I think about them as I go. And I've got some cool software for I can do things like mark up the screen and like point things out or something like that. So that'll be fun. Hey Kurt, good to see you. And yeah, this is the first time, so it's gonna be dirty. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's just get started. So first one here, actually, I just realized that because of my webcam, I'm blocking the title, so what game it will be a surprise. All right, let's get started.
最初に言っておくが、余計な真似はするなよ。おい、ちょっと気をつけてくれよ。見て見て、これ面白い。グエー。こちら尾藤あさる。もうじきサーバールームに着くぞ。
あなたたちに新しいお仕事がある。
何何？
そんな、こいつを引き連れてネガボットでの仕事だなんて。
おいおい、人のせいか？
あなたに選択の余地はない。
しかしボス、元凶は全部こいつなんです。オーバークロック。
ああ、これ何？こういった事態のために君たちを呼んだ。
スパイの本分は奪い合いだと教わらなかった。時期をお引き取りしていただきましょう。
つまりは敵を全滅させろってことじゃない。オッケー、任務了解。
やるね、アメリ。腕は鈍ってないから安心だ。
お前のことは好きだ。だから提供していく。
全力を見せよ。
任務開始ね。分かったか、アサル。下手くそはやられるんだぞ。
もううるさい。ややこしくなるから余計な口を挟むな。
Okay, so that's Assault Spy. The funny thing is that even though it's called Assault Spy, I was still trying to figure out in the beginning of the trailer, who are these people? And it wasn't until somewhere in the middle here that someone said, what is it? Someone said like, oh, you're spies. Oh, here we go. This person here. Didn't anyone teach you that spies are supposed to take things? And yeah, the entire time I was just thinking, what are the, so clearly this character action game, and this is a very, very anime trailer. You got the whole like character ID thing, which they just love to do in video games and kind of opening sequences and stuff. So, but oh, there's a cat that might be joining us. You can't see him. But the thing was, I see this a lot with Japanese game trailers, a number of things. Whoops, that was a cat walking over my keyboard. Is that they don't feel like, they feel like a lot of random scenes put together. Like, I don't know how much you're paying attention to the dialogue, but the dialogue doesn't, if you write it out in like a transcript or read a transcript of what's going on, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So they're like, oh, we're going to the server room, and we see, there's also like, there's not that many environments in here, there's mostly this office. So the problem is that when you don't have the context, it's harder to watch the trailer, because as an audience member watching a trailer, you're looking for the context so then that you can understand everything else that's going on in the trailer. But without that, then it becomes kind of meaningless, and I think that, at least for me, I kind of drone out, and because everything just doesn't have meaning except beyond its aesthetics, which, you know, it's very pretty. It's really cool effects and everything, but I'm trying to understand the whole time. And if you're trying to understand, then that's not good, because that means that the audience isn't really focusing on what is actually happening. If they're just like, wait, so what's going on? And then they're just missing stuff, because if the trailer doesn't basically spoon feed you what is going on, and you're spending all that mental headspace trying to figure it out, then that's not a good place to be in. But, you know, it has beautiful visual effects and everything, and if someone just wants a character action game, maybe they don't care about the story, so maybe it's fine. But this one, it's just this sort of thing where it's just action, 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 and all the entire time I have no idea what's going on. It just kind of goes in one ear and out the other, and I'm like, okay, it was that character action game. Like, I wouldn't come out of this necessarily thinking I know exactly what I'm going to say about this game if someone were to describe it to me, or if I were to describe it to someone else. I'm like, oh, it's like a character action game, and they're spies, I guess, and like, that's it. So, but, you know, high production value and stuff, so that kind of makes up for all that sort of confusion. Yeah, that's okay. Let's keep going.
We have no cell signal here. No internet. No one knows what's happening to us. Last night, a couple friends and I finally got proof. What is that? Some kids said that the voices in their heads claim to be gods. When you see this, come to Red Acre. Help us.
Cool. So I've heard of this game before, but I actually didn't watch the trailer. But I know that I think it's former BioShock developers. I think. Don't quote me on that. The game looks really cool. My first impression of this trailer is that it's kind of trying to do two things, and it kind of ends up weakening each other's side. So the two things I see are, it's really, really heavy on atmosphere, and because it's really, really pretty, so of course you want to go for that. But it's also at a certain point in trying to teach you what the game actually is. But it's not until about somewhere in the middle here I thought, like, oh, I think I might get something. Hold on, where is it? I think these first several shots, this is all atmosphere. Okay, so now it says 4-player co-op horror. So when 4-player co-op horror comes up, immediately I'm going to start thinking, okay, everything past this point, I'm going to start wondering to myself, how is this a 4-player co-op horror game? And I'll be looking for them to show me that. And so then we keep going. And so they show four people here, which that's something. So close your eyes. And so you have this phone where you're recording things. See, the thing about these title cards here that isn't working for me is, so face your fears and close your eyes. I'm not getting any more information related to these title cards. At least I don't feel like I am. So it kind of just kind of falls flat. I'm like, well, okay. I mean, it is creating a little bit more atmosphere. It's saying like, oh, face your fears. It's a scary game, but I don't feel like I'm learning too much. Okay, so. And so the other thing to think about here is like I'm stepping through bit by bit, and when you're watching a trailer, you obviously don't have this much time to analyze everything, so you can't necessarily count on people to do that unless it's a game that people have been waiting for and want to obsess over every frame. But so there's a phone camera and I don't know, underground environment, creepy piano person. So unite the club. Okay, gather proof. So gather proof was actually this was the first thing that gave me any indication of what you're doing in the game. And this is like 47 seconds in. I feel like I would have wanted something like this might have given me more context for earlier. So for example, gather proof paired with, whoops, if you put gather proof and then this shot came up with the phone, then it could be like, oh, okay, gather proof. They're documenting or something like that. It would give me just some sort of connection that would make me feel like I can understand a little bit more. But since it comes so late in here, I'm kind of like, it took me a while. And by the time I'm here, I'm like, oh, that's a little weird that I only now understand this. See, I mean, so yeah, they do have the phone right after gather proof. But if this had been kind of earlier, then I feel like it would have helped me understand what's going on. Okay, so then there's this have you seen me, which actually there was an earlier one here. So maybe there's something about missing people. Save your friends. So there are people jumping on people, attacking people. There's some sort of bad guys. This is one weird thing. That's like, because most of this trailer has virtually no UI, and all of a sudden there's a shot here. It's Chad. It's just a little kind of weird that this is in here. It's just a little distracting. Because suddenly I'm like, oh, UI. Tell the world. Okay, and there's weapons and they're tasing people. Yeah, so I'd say this trailer, another thing, another trailer where like the game looks really, really cool. Just the production value is just really amazing looking. But I still didn't have the context that I wanted to understand what is going on. And frankly, actually, at this point, I've just totally forgotten what the voiceover was. Just for argument's sake, I'm just going to go back and listen to it again. And see, maybe I was just missing something the entire time. It's a little hard to watch something and think about what I'm going to be saying later on. So let's just watch it again.
We have no cell signal here. No internet. No one knows what's happening to us. Last night, a couple friends and I finally got proof. What is that? Some kids said that the voices in their heads claim to be gods. When you see this, come to Red Acre. Help us.
So the voiceover did talk a little bit about what I was looking for. Like she mentioned proof, and there's no cell service or isolated. But the other problem that I have is when you have voiceover and text on the screen, it's kind of like having two narrators, unless the narrator is literally kind of echoing what is being displayed in the title cards. So if they're actually reading it, then that's all kind of unified and it makes sense. But it's like listening to two voices, basically, with one person's talking, and then there's something else going on, which, oh god, my chat just lagged, and it's back, so. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna catch up on chat a little bit. Love new content, should have done English voiceover in my opinion. It's hard to read subtitles and watch high action, yeah. Cool, yeah, everyone's here. Actually, let me make sure this chat just suddenly popped up and like people are suddenly talking. Maybe it was because it's popped out. But so anyway, like I was saying, it's like two different voices and they're almost competing. And I mean, trailers should basically just it just needs to make it really, really easy for the audience to understand. And sometimes you could think, oh, well, it's such an obvious thing to do to say 4-player co-op and then show 4-player co-op happening. But that's what people are looking for, because it's a really short amount of time. And its stuff has to be really, really clear if you expect people to understand it in the amount of time. So, yeah, so that's my thing. But it looks very, very pretty, so I'm sure it's got nice comments because people love production quality, and these sorts of things kind of can make up or compensate for anything else that's confusing or otherwise. Dragon MCF says music lacks impact, gets awkward during climax, the orchestration clearly fails to keep up. Yeah, so like it's yeah. Let's just move on. I think I said what I said. What do we got next? So kudos for putting the logos at the end. Good. But so it's a climbing game. It looks like 3D QWOP, basically. This opening, I guess this opening is here to show the different environments and showing people falling. But it's just the way it is with this whole like screen moving. It's kind of gives me a little bit of a headache and it makes me a little bit dizzy. I feel like this idea could have been conveyed by just cutting or dissolving between the two. And so this is going, basically the crux of this trailer is that, so you climb, and that they're showing that there's lots of different character types. Josh, reminds me of American Gladiators game on NES, but hilarious and disgusting. Okay, so the first one of the day, HUD. This is the first thing that you see on the screen if there's any HUD at all. Like, you might think, oh, it's going to be here, but no, because when you have something that is moving on screen, this is why HUD is not good to show in most cases. Because when you have something that's moving on screen, and then you have things that aren't moving, then they just stand out that much more. And also, this is bright white. So if you think just like you squint, this is going to be the first thing that you see, maybe the green. And what is this telling you? This is telling you that, is it counting up or counting down? Okay, it's counting up. And it looks like it's... Is this footage sped up? Yeah, I think... I was trying to tell whether or not it was sped up or the movement was actually like that. Yeah, so then like this is a grip meter. But the thing is like something like this, like HUD element should be there if it's there to communicate an idea that you can't show any other way. And so if you wanted to show that you can't hold on forever or something like that, then you could show someone falling, for example, and that would be understandable. And the other thing about this is the music. So the music is like, it's this like pumping music, which, you know, it seems very like sort of badass and confident. And this game seems like when you're playing it, it would be very harrowing and difficult. So I feel like the music should kind of echo that. It should be a little bit more tense. Like this is kind of like, yeah, I'm climbing. Whereas if it was kind of like, oh God, am I gonna make it? Then it would have some suspense to it. And like it looks very silly and wacky, but it just the music. It feels like the music and the visuals aren't working together to convey the idea, which I don't know. Maybe they want it to look confident, but like this is very wacky looking when they're like spinning around like this, so it kind of doesn't jive. Adam's asking, what cases is it a good idea to show HUD? Good idea to show HUD. There's very, very few. Some games they're basically all HUD, like RTSs, which in those cases I usually say just show as much as you need. Maybe if there needs to be a power bar or something like that to show that something was very powerful, but like an attack or something like that. But I'm trying to think of when I've actually shown HUD in any of my trailers, and it's very, very rare. Like there was a Firewatch trailer. We did like these mini trailers where we decided, oh, you know, we've never shown the whole point at something and pick up the walkie-talkie and report it in. So we're like, oh, we should do that. But then one thing we did for that was we hid the HUD elements on the bottom right or the bottom left or both, because they weren't necessary for what we were paying attention to in the trailer. And yeah, so like if you can do it without the HUD, then you should. But if the HUD is just very particular thing that there's just no other way to show it, then it's okay. But usually I try to say like, hey, or I'll ask the developer, is it possible for me to show like just this one thing and just hide everything else? Because I don't want people looking here, here, and here. I want them looking exactly where I want them to be looking. Yeah. Dragon says, what the trailer fails to show is that the characters are different. Yeah, I think they're just... Yeah, that's exactly right. They look like they're just skins to me, but for all we know, they might have different abilities. So... but if they don't, then this actually plays more like a DLC trailer, because then the people who already have the game and they enjoy it, they're like, oh, I wanna play as a different thing. I wanna play as a policewoman. I wanna play as a clown. That's cool. But this is a launch trailer, so it's a little weird to focus so much on that part of the game. All right, let's move on. It's already 10:23, so let's do an hour. I've only watched like 3.
That's the sound of his life running out.
This is a very busy end slate. So that was pretty fun. Anything else here? I don't envy the editor who had to put together this end slate. This is wow. There's the title, there's platforms, there's copyright, there's the company, there's Discord, there's hashtags. Okay, so it's a racing game. This looks like it was professionally done. The thing that I was looking for, oh, actually, they did put logos at the beginning. But so, again, maybe, for all I know, Wired Productions and Caged Element are known for racing games, and their audience is like, oh my god, Caged Element and Wired Productions. But I don't know that, so they're just taking up time, which is the argument that I would have against putting logos at the beginning. Marlon says, logo soup, as my former boss would call it. Yes, that's a good name for it. Logo soup. That's what this is. Okay, so the trailer, it was, it's racing, which pretty much all racing game trailers, it's like this sort of music and, cool camera angles and stuff. But what was actually, I was looking for, whenever you have like a genre game, so like racing or first-person shooter, I'm always looking for, okay, what is different about this? And I mean, I'm not a racing game fan, but I've played some, so I was looking for, okay, what is different about this one that from other racing games? Giragas says, I thought grip could be a company logo. It's barely visible for longer than the ones that followed it. Yeah, that's the other thing. When you have a new company, then it's weird to see the logo. Like, I remember I saw the trailer for Children of Men, which was produced or something by Strike. So then this big Strike logo comes on. I'm like, is this movie called Strike? Yes. Kurt says, I think there are too many locked off camera angles. There are a whole bunch here, certainly. But so I didn't feel like I saw something that stuck out to me until somewhere here, which is when they did this, and like, oh, you can flip and go upside down and go to the side. Which I guess they did that in the beginning, but it didn't register on me that that's what's going on. And so it's called Grip Combat Racing. And the thing is, like, looking at it now, I can see that, well, at least those first two shots, there was some like missile shooting. But actually most of this section here, there's no shooting. Okay, there's some, no. I don't know what those light things are. Okay, so there's an explosion. Still none here. Okay, there's one there. There's someone there. Monsters says, the first flip was rewinded and I don't understand why. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Where was it? Okay, so this part here, and there's some lyrics that kick in with the music.
That's the sound of his life running out.
And so when I heard that lyric, I was thinking, that's the sound of his life running out. I'm like, oh, is this going to be referencing some mechanic? Is it like you regain health or something like that? Or is this person dying? Is it rewinding because you can rewind like in Sands of Time, Prince of Persia? But I didn't see that again later, so I assume this is just stylish editing here. They're doing some like superimposition sort of things. I assume that's just style, because it doesn't look like it's a game mechanic. So that's like a thing that I think about sometimes with trailers, is not using certain editorial tricks lest they be construed as game mechanic, which, sorry, you might hear my cat meowing in the background. But so the problem I'm having with this is it's called Grip Combat Racing, which even in that, the two things that stand out to me are you can you can flip around and go on walls and stuff like that, and then there's missiles. But a lot of this is just kind of like regular driving, which is not as interesting because I mean, that's what every racing game is. So what I think would have helped is to emphasize the combat is if they shot a missile, they had some sort of close-up on someone getting hit, because there's just so much stuff going on the screen that I needed something to focus my eye to see what's going on. And like, again, it's very pretty, but the mechanics beyond, like, this is very clear. Just, you know, you can flip around and all that sort of thing, but the whole combat part didn't really come across. Like, it didn't feel like I was watching like this sci-fi Mario Kart sort of game, because I couldn't see that that's what was going on. All right, so yeah, that's Grip Combat Racing. All right, next, Hitman 2 Sean Bean Elusive Target Reveal. Let's see this. This will definitely be professionally produced.
It's a talent of sorts, I suppose. I never expected to be like this. But they keep trying to kill me, you know? I've cheated death countless times. I'm like a stage magician. I know all the tricks. They think they're clever, but they're nothing on me. I even managed to make them think I'd been blown up. I've always had a knack for explosives. Take that toy over there. It could make a blinding weapon. Doesn't even need to be that complicated. There's always things lying around. It's easy, you know? You gotta be creative with the things at hand. People don't notice the small things. That's the beauty of it. Look at that. Time's up. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. It's been good to unload. I know you're watching. Still not sent your best, eh? Guess I'll see you in Miami.
Okay. All right, that's super amazing. I love this. Okay, that was very well done. I mean, so first of all, it's brilliant to have Sean Bean because, as everyone knows, Sean Bean dies in everything. But so if you think about what's the point of this trailer? The point of it is to, you know, announce that there's this new thing, and you just want to play it, of course. So the script is really good. The script, because he's just being all cocky about himself and being like, oh, I've evaded death, which is like, everything that he says in this trailer just makes you really want to kill him. But it clearly has a sense of humor, like very dry sense of humor. And then they even they work in, and because he's an assassin, they can teach you about the game mechanics at the same time. So he's just going through all these different things, like, oh, anything can be a weapon. You know, you could do this and you can do this. So it's doing two things at the same time, which is excellent. And it's Sean Bean, so of course the acting is great. It's very well shot and everything. Yeah, I don't have too much more to say about this. This is very, very, very good. I enjoyed that quite a bit. I kind of wish that this text wasn't in the top and bottom, but I get it. Yeah, that's it. This is really fun. They really, really make you want to kill him. And it's Sean Bean anyway, so you do want to do it anyway. Sean Bean the character, not the actor. Don't kill Sean Bean in real life, just in film and video games. Okay. Josh asks, does this tell you much about the game, though? And Kurt says, the only thing got me is that there's no interaction between the main dude and psychiatrist. When he kills him, there's no reaction shot or anything, so it's pretty emotionally void. Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I think there's still something to it's like very, when you don't focus on the victim that much, it just kind of makes it super duper cold and clinical. And Josh was saying, does this tell you much about the game? The thing is I don't think, since this is a trailer made, okay, so I don't know, I have probably conflicting thoughts on this, but my first impression is that because this is a game for DLC or like an event, it doesn't have to teach you about the game, because this is for an audience of people who have played the game, are familiar with the game. And if you haven't played the game before and you're watching this, it's Sean Bean, so you might be curious just because of that. And it's called Hitman also, and the person's saying, come here and get me. So you know at least that much. So if it might get someone to look it up, say, oh, cool, what's this game where I get to kill Sean Bean? But I think DLC trailers get to not teach the audience as much about the game because of who they're directed towards. Small point of confusion, psychiatrist looks like Agent 47 who's then watching. Yeah, I think that was just to play with the people who are in the know, like, oh, is that going to be Agent 47? Is it Agent 47? It's like, oh, wait, it's not, because he's bald. So I think that worked fine for me. Yeah, so I thought that was very good. All right, let me small little rant here. I don't know about anyone else in chat. There's a lot of trailer editors in the chat right now, but I try to center my text on the ESRB, and it just all this negative space. Hold on. All this negative space here. I'm just like, just move it over a little bit. Just move it over.
Have you ever heard of the fairies? Wondrous creatures who live in a world where time stands still. Good fairy, you're here, aren't you?
Whoa! Sorry. What? The bookmark I had here is gone.
Fairy, kind fairy, can you hear me? If my voice travels to the place where time stands still, then please, won't you be friends with us? Please.
Cool, I had no idea this thing existed. From Software VR, PlayStation VR game? Kurt says, can we talk about people who don't adjust the black levels of their ESRBs? It drives me crazy when they're gray. I concur. All right, first let's talk a little bit about sound mixing. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh there. It sounds to me like they did not duck the music down at all in this trailer, because as soon as they started talking, it just sounded like the music was still overpowering them talking. Let me see.
Heard of the fairy?
Oh.
Have you ever heard of the fairy?
Yeah, I don't think they mixed down this music at all. So they just put the dialogue in, and they have the music here, and it doesn't go down, so it's harder to hear the dialogue. Marlon's asking, was the first VR interaction in the game picking the kid's nose? Though I think there was something a little bit before then, but let's get there. So I think this is the first VR interaction. So it seems like after finishing this trailer, the crux of it is that I guess you're some sort of invisible force interacting in these people's lives, and you're some sort of mythical creature, which is a cool premise. But it, like Marlon said, it takes a really long time before you see what we're doing. So, okay, let's start at the beginning here, though, because something I want to say is that a lot of VR games, so a lot of VR games, and also a lot of first-person like exploration games. Also, it's weird that it stops at a place that's not 0, but anyway. So anyway, a lot of VR games, I noticed this, in their trailers, the first 3 to 6 or more shots are environment shots. And, you know, it's very pretty, but with every single one that you go into, like, if it's not exceptionally pretty, then I think the audience will get impatient. Like, okay, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? So that goes for VR games and a lot of first-person exploration games. But yeah, so Dragon says, it took me a second to realize the player is the fairy. Yeah, that's the problem. So I think that if they could have found a way to make it clear, maybe like somewhere after the, like, so there's logos, there's all this stuff, there's lots of stuff here before anything happens. So the trailer doesn't actually start technically until like 19 seconds in because of all the logos and the branding and stuff. So they need to show that the player is the fairy like early on, and then after that, because first you need to know the idea, and then you need to give them time to either see, talking about the audience here, you need the time for them to see the potential of like, oh, I'm the fairy, that means I could do this, and some of it will be examples that they show you, but the other parts, it'll just be like in your mind, you'll just be thinking, oh, I wonder if they could do this and this, and that's a cool idea, which it is a cool idea. But it takes so long for you to know what is going on because of all these static shots, and not until here. But even here, like, as far as I remember, let me see.
You live in a world where time stands still.
And see, so that's another thing, was that she says, have you heard about the fairies in a land where time stands still? So I was thinking, oh, maybe the people are the fairies, and this is actually like a small world that you're looking into, kind of like Moss. But so if instead the script was something like, oh, I have this chest, it's never been opened, if only there was some way, and then suddenly it opens, and then they can be like, oh my god, how did that happen? There must be some invisible force here to help me, or something like that. And then you could go from there. But yeah, the nose picking, was that actually nose picking? Yes, you're like tickling his nose. So, like, I'm curious if the hand came into frame rather than being in the center, that would have helped explain the player's hand picking lock. Yeah, that's a good point. Is here, since the hand is already there, like a lot of VR trailers, you definitely have the thing where you can see the hands moving around, and nothing moves like human hands, like, or at least you can't do the same motion with a controller. So it becomes very clear in VR what is a person versus something being held by a controller, or just in the game. So it doesn't take too much to show, hey, this is a person playing. So the idea seems cool, but again, the central conceit could have been shown earlier. So basically, when you don't convey the premise at the beginning somewhere there, then everything here is, say, confusing, and then everything after here, oh, I understand it. Yeah. Let's move on.
Where times...
Don't look, Kurt, it's gray.
Every culture tells tales of descent into the underworld. Of heroes who overcome great challenge and return forever changed.
Great challenge awaits.
Be creative, adaptable. Ingenuity will take you far here. Will you be a warrior? A rogue who springs from the shadows? A mage skilled in runic magic? The options are endless. The choice is yours.
Only the bold and able survive here.
Adapt, evolve, ascend. Save life from death through cleverness. Rise.
All right. Kurt is saying, turn off that UI. Super distracting when they zoom in on footage too and the UI changes size. Yeah. Okay. So I've never heard of the Underworld series, so this is lost on me. Maybe Underworld is more popular than I know. I was trying to figure out a long time what genre this fit into. So obviously it's first person, and I think, yeah, so this title card here, where's its RPG lineage on its sleeve? This confused me because I was thinking to myself, okay, it's an RPG, it's like first person RPG, like Skyrim or something like that. And let me see. Then like it took a long time to get to the gameplay. So, and when it takes a long time to get to the gameplay for first-person games, a lot of the times, just maybe because of previous trailers, I start assuming, oh, is this a first-person exploration game? But no, it's an action-y game. Josh says, Underworld series heritage of immersive sims, so granddaddy of Deus Ex, Dishonored, Bioshock. Okay, that makes sense. And which I got that vibe when I started seeing the skill trees, because those are, and actually another thing with UI, look at this, hold on. Like, it's like the UI is like popping in like for single frames. So that's very distracting. Like, see, did you see that? See, look, this thing popped up. And yeah, like this thing. That just like little things. It's like Fight Club. Wait, what was that? So I was trying to figure out what the game was, which that sort of thought, like, what kind of game is this? It's okay up to a certain point in the trailer, but if they're still lost at it, you know, halfway through, what does this say? Equal parts brain, muscle, and decision making. That's another thing, is that, so these are quotes, they're accolade things, but there's a lot of voiceover. So again, the title cards and the voiceover are competing But when there was a title card here that showed up that said like, oh, dungeon crawler, it's never good when you're watching a trailer and a title card really late on makes you go, oh, that's what it is, because that means that you were kind of lost the entire time. Maybe that's just me. But that's definitely something that happened when I was watching this. And here's another thing. So Josh says the finished product is insanely buggy. PC Gamer gave it a 25 out of 100 because it was so... Wow, okay.
Forever changed.
Okay.
Great challenge awaits.
And another thing, just you think about when there's any voiceover, you got to think about how the visuals are going to be pairing with it. And so it's a great challenge awaits. And when I see that with this, and I'm looking at these things, I'm like, oh, great challenge. Does that mean these are achievements or something like that? Which they may or may not be, I don't know.
Challenge awaits.
And even then, great challenge awaits. These next shots here, they're just walking. You know, it doesn't look like a great challenge.
Be creative.
And so here they're saying be creative, which I think they're turning off lights style. But it's so fast. And that's only because I know what Thief is, and I know that shooting fire with arrows with water or whatever is a thing. I think this is very easy to miss. Also, maybe if there was some sort of sound effect like tss, then that would make that clear.
Be creative.
So I would have either done that with sounds to indicate it, or maybe show close-up to make it extra clear.
Adaptable.
So they turn off the lights, and then they're going forward.
Adaptable.
And here's another thing that just is not helping, is that it seems like the sound effects in the game aren't very punchy. So, and it's a little bit weird because the voiceover sounds great, the music sounds good, and then you have these sound effects here that are kind of very light and they don't feel very substantial. And again, this UI, it's white, and it sticks out because it's supposed to. That's its function in the game, but that means that in the trailer it's distracting. And like this part here, I was trying to look for what was going on with this thing. Oh, so then, actually, see, now that I'm playing it frame by frame, I'm understanding a little bit more, which also isn't a good thing. So maybe because there's a little bit of gap between this lever turning and this other thing moving. But also, I don't know what this thing is, so I don't really know why I should care about this thing moving at all. Oh, and then it hits the guy. So is it a trap? Like that it looks like it could even be a bug. I don't know.
Will you be a warrior? A rogue who springs from the shadows?
And because like this thing, this stuff definitely made some of the game mechanics clear, but it still feels like a lot of energy to listen to the voiceover and read this at the same time, because I want to be looking for something that corresponds to what they're saying.
Will you be
Which
a warrior?
It does, but
a rogue who springs from the shadows? A mage skilled in runic magic.
And like just these things that were like, I don't know if these words pop up in the game or if it's for the trailer, but it's very, very distracting.
The options are endless.
And like some of these spells here, like this teleport, doesn't really communicate visually very well because you're just suddenly in a different place. There's just all sorts of things. Everything here. This is all fighting for attention when you want them to be looking here. Adam says, skill title card looks like a player has to make a decision and choose something. Yeah, I get that, but it's
the choice.
I'm not sure it's necessary to convey what they're showing.
Only the bold and able survive here.
And yeah, there's this weird gap here.
Is yours.
You know, only the bold and able survive here.
Only the bold and able survive.
And like, so in this part, they're talking about surviving, but there's nothing dangerous going on. And like this shot, I guess this is to say there's a person who sells things.
Adapt, evolve, ascend.
And again, if you just call out single words, then people are going to be looking for something to correspond.
Adapt.
So adapt,
evolve, ascend.
And none of those shots have anything to do with those things, as far as I can tell.
Save life from death through cleverness. Rise.
Okay, so that was a lot. I mean, you know, for all I know, if the game's as buggy as it apparently people are saying it is, maybe they're editing around bugs all the time, and that's what they had to show. But it's just I see this a lot where there was a trailer which it shows a lot, and it ends up saying nothing because it's just too overwhelming. Like, I'm trying to think, what would I tell people about this game if I just watched this trailer? Like, okay, this trailer for this game I saw, it's called Underworld Ascendant, and it's a dungeon crawler with, like, some systems, kind of like Thief, I think. I don't know what you're doing beyond that. There's some stealth, but, like, all those things are things that you can say about lots of games. So none of them would make my friend, if I was telling them that, think, oh man, I gotta play that. That sounds interesting. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place. And while it's already 10:57, we'll maybe go a little bit over an hour. But actually, the next one I had queued up Sean Bean, another one, but let's skip ahead and see what this is. Oh, oops. Sorry, I was going to say, if you're going to keep watching this, you're going to see a lot of different ESRB fonts and character weights and everything. Which is something sometimes I screenshot them because they're just, I'm like, oh my god, what's that font? Cool. All right, I really liked that. All right, let's go back. Yeah, Kurt, wrong font, ESRB. ESRB font, as far as I remember, Arial Narrow if you don't already have a template. Okay, so only just some small critiques here and there, but this is a really good trailer. Again, logos at front. No. Sound effects are really loud. Yes, they are. It's very punchy. So, kudos for... Okay. This trailer, I like, it gets to the point, and when it gets to the point, I'm like, ah, yes, cool, I'm in for that. So, it starts off racing, and then, look, that's like maybe 2, maybe 3 seconds of just the motorcycles, and then he hits a guy. Or she, I don't know. And so that, for me, is like, all right, they got to the point. Motorcycles, racing, and hitting people. And that's all I really need to know. I'm like, okay, I'm in. Just maybe see a little bit more. And the editing is punchy. They got cool angles, and the graphics are nice. Got that like grindhouse sort of thing. But I don't know. For me, I don't know how anyone else thinks, but I like punchy sound effects. So if they're good, then I just want to hear more. And yeah, so like, here's the thing. This does do a lot of the call-outs of like online multiplayer, but what it does is it gets through them really, really fast, which helps. It works with the trailer's energy, but it's also like, you don't need that much time on those sorts of things. And Josh was saying 2/3 was great, and then the rest kind of felt a little redundant. Oh, and here they make the skill tree look more interesting by like zooming in and everything. Kurt says, I'll tidy up this ESRB template. They just had Xbox trailer get rejected because the ESRB took out the R registered symbol on there. Oh, good to know. Yeah, so they just whip through all this stuff. The only thing I thought in terms of criticism was I don't like, in some cases, when title cards use subjective language. So like deep. Also, they spelled system wrong. Whoops. I didn't even notice that, which I guess is good because that means I was paying attention to everything else. Check your spelling. Maybe the Excel document had it misspelled and the graphics artist just copied and pasted it, which that is a thing. But yeah, so subjective language, because I just feel like whenever you have language like this, and especially if the audience can't see what you're talking about, then it almost becomes like a challenge, at least for me. It's kind of like, oh, your combat system is deep, huh? Well, I'm gonna look for all the ways it isn't deep. So that's the way I think about subjective language in title cards. So I try to avoid that sort of language because it just feels like, because it's the person literally behind the trailer in the game, they're saying it's so deep, and that's making a hard sell, which hard sells don't usually work. And then the other thing is game terminology. I get to a point, but I think that we can get very myopic about how much people actually know all the things that hardcore fans know, and they read articles, and everyone knows what a roguelike is, of course, but a lot of people don't, I think. So I think it's easy to just avoid this sort of thing. This was all fine, but I'm just nitpicking. These are just little things. Overall, I thought it was very good. It's okay, Kurt. We won't tell anyone. Yeah, let's Marlon says, epic in epic roguelike would be subjective too then. Yes, it would, absolutely. It's like, who are you to say it's epic? I don't think it's epic. I'm going to play it and see if it's epic or not. Yeah. It's already... Well, I think I don't want to go too much longer. Maybe one more, because this is going to go on my YouTube channel, and I know people probably don't want to watch super duper long video. Actually, no, you know what? Let's just end it there. I think that was a good way to end off, because I enjoyed that. Logo soup. That's fairly conservative. There's a lot of color, though. But yeah, this was fun. I think I need more practice articulating my thoughts, but Josh says one more song. I want to do one more. People want to do one more. Yeah, how many? I didn't even get through that many. I got through, what, 8? All right, let's do just one more. I don't know what this is.
Peggy 7.
Oops, oh, no, go back. Go back. All right. I don't know this character, unfortunately. So, I guess that's the original game. It's a cool idea. They clearly had money. Like, how do they have so much money to do all this stuff? Like, there's reflections and stuff in here. There's a special shoot. Maybe it was like part of something else. Just like, all right. So, you already know I'm gonna say this, but I mean, just look at this. It's just gonna be there this entire time, and it would just work so much. This doesn't tell me anything. Like, it's a platformer. You know it's a platformer from looking at it, and you don't need all this stuff, so it would have been fine to turn off. Yeah, this trailer, it's fine. The game looks nice, or the art is pretty, but it and they keep on hitting the Toki thing, which I guess if you know the game well, then maybe you're excited about it. But the problem is that if you don't know it, then it's just time spent on this thing that you don't know about. And I was really surprised they didn't do the whole time-lapse thing where they fade between the old graphics and the new one. Which I know it's cliche, but it's usually pretty fun to look at. I think the art's very unique. It's retro. That's why I was thinking about why I was having so much trouble reading this word. It's because they made up a word. It's Retrolector Edition. It's a little bit odd that they ended on these physical things, because it feels like since they went straight from this. Oh wait, no, they didn't. So they go back to gameplay. Okay. Yeah. So what I remembered was that they went straight into this end slate after the collector stuff, but actually no. The last shot is this, which doesn't look exceptionally interesting. So it's kind of a weird way to end. Like there's clearly like someone spent a lot of money making this trailer. I think just from this opening. I don't know, maybe it's way easier for people to do than I'm thinking about. Packaging, layout, and development may be subject to change. It's fine. I don't know, there's not too much to say. It's just kind of, it doesn't really excite me because it just seems like you're this ape and it's a platformer, but I don't see anything about the mechanics or anything like that which make me think, oh, this platformer is doing XYZ differently. Like, the art is clearly part of the appeal that they're going for. But just, I don't know, where I see games now, it's like platformer, they have the points popping up on people. It's like, yeah, it's an arcade remake, so of course they have all those things, but it just I don't know, just feels kind of meh to me. Oh, and Kurt was asking, why is the PEGI rating on the end slate? I've seen that a few times. I have no idea, because you don't have to do that. Maybe someone read the PEGI thing and they just followed all the rules, but maybe because, like, you don't have to do that, so I don't know. Yeah. That's all I have to say about Toki, I guess. The Retrolector Collection. Like, I'm trying to think of what would they do to make this look more interesting. I think maybe part of it is that there's just so much stuff going on with these title cards and everything. I just feel like they're hiding the gameplay to a certain degree, which it is what it is. I don't think they need to do that. But it's just kind of average, I guess. Like, I feel weird because this is like hand-drawn animation and stuff, which is cool, but I'm like, eh. All right. Okay, I don't want this to go longer. I'm definitely gonna end it here. Josh is asking, when are we doing this again? I'm gonna try to do this every week. I'm gonna try the same time next week, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific. And because I only got through 8, 9, whatever. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Hanging out, talking about trailers, and sharing ideas. I'm sure I'll have way more on my watch later list that than I even will be able to get through. So I don't know, maybe I'll have to actually watch some trailers on my own to get through everything I want to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here, and hopefully I'll see you same time next week, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and I'll be back and we'll talk about more trailers. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, and see you next time.